There are some people that are definitely overworked by staying at home with kids underfoot, but for others, they may have a lot more free time yet still feel tired all the time. Joining me now is psychotherapist and author Lisa Schab. She can explain why it's normal to feel tired and fatigued even though our schedules are wide open. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Tiffany. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I definitely think that this is something people can relate to, is the fact that, we're not doing as much as usual, but we're still so exhausted. Why is that?
Yes, good question, and it's absolutely valid. We might not be doing as much physically, but we're doing so much emotionally. We're doing emotional work to the point it's like we're running an emotional marathon.
So what kind of emotional work are we doing? Let's kind of break that down for people, because they may saying, I'm just operating, I'm just going through my day.
Yes, and you might not notice, but we're doing so much. We're dealing with change. Have change in our work, in our home, in our relationship, in our routine, maybe new technology. We're also dealing with something very unfamiliar. We've never been through a pandemic before. We don't have a blueprint for it. We're dealing with fear and uncertainty about the unknown, about illness, about financial loss, about when will this end. And we're dealing with grief, whether that's a loss of our freedom or if it's a loss of a loved one. And grief is very draining. And even if we're doing pretty well, there's something different. There's a different backdrop of our life right now. It's a little backdrop of tension or uncertainty. And that takes emotional energy to manage. And also, we're just tired of pandemic life by now. We just kind of wish, could I run out to the store and get something? And I have to think about masks and wipes and gloves and timing and social distancing. So at the same time, we're doing all this emotional adjustment, we're blocked from so many of the things that help us relax and release emotion, our entertainment and our socializing and going out and those kind of things.
Right. It's probably easy to think we've got all this balance because we have some things taken off our plate. But truly, the balance that we're talking about is that social life, and that's not occurring. So how can we get more energy? Is this a matter of us taking naps or upping our sleep, or is there something else we can do?
Yeah, and great question. And balance is the exact word I was going to use to explain, because things are out of balance. And we need to rebalance. So we have to balance that emotional energy drain by doing things that restore our energy. If that means you need a nap, you need a nap. But resist the desire to just stay on the couch, stay behind the computer or the TV. We balance fatigue with energizing movement. So believe it or not, if you get up off that couch or get out of the house and move around, your body's going to give you more energy. We also need to balance negativity with positivity. There's so much right now that is hard to hold and hard to think about, and our thoughts create our experiences of life. They're so powerful. So when we notice our thoughts pulling us down, we need to consciously grab onto some positive ones and think about gratitude and what we still have versus what we've lost. There's so much seriousness too. We need to balance that seriousness with laughter and silliness. So however you can do that, whether it means making funny videos with your kids, or dressing up in your Halloween costume and going outside, or rolling around on the floor with your pets, do something that makes you laugh and release that. We're also dealing with boredom, and we need to balance that. So we need to get creative, which a lot of people are doing, or just find variety. Walk a different route, rearrange your furniture, try a different recipe, do something different in any way you can. And expressive arts can help us, creativity with writing, drawing, painting, singing. And it is important to keep our health balanced, our physical health, because when we're physically healthy, when we eat and sleep and exercise the way we should, we're better able to handle our emotions. And then just be gentle with ourselves, because this is hard stuff. We've never done it before. We're all doing the best we can.
Well, you mentioned so many different ways and outlets for us to sort of increase this balance. And I feel like so many of us have kind of dipped our toes in lots of those, whether it's the rearranging or walking. I've started doing some dance videos, you know, for exercise, and they've just been so much fun. And so they've kind of made me laugh or enjoyed this time a little bit differently. The thing I love about what you do, because you've been here before talking about your journals, which we showed, the put your worries here and put your feelings here. And these are science-backed with CBT and DBT philosophies behind them in psychology. And I'm a huge fan of them. Journaling is something that truly helps us and is very valid and important right now. How do you explain that to people in terms of journaling being so important?
Yeah, it can be really helpful. And journaling helps us. It's a safe place. It's a healthy way to release our feelings. Because if we block them, they don't just go away. So it's a safe place we can go. You don't have to be a writer. I always tell people, you don't have to know how to write at all, or you don't have to organize, spell, punctuate. You just release your feelings on paper. And also, journaling does a really good job of taking something abstract, like whatever's rolling around in our heads, in the back of our mind that feels so big, and it brings it to a concrete form, words on paper or on the screen. And that's something we're familiar with, so we're less intimidated. And it's something we can manipulate, so we feel empowered. We feel like we have some control. So journaling is really, really helpful for so many people to get through these times too. And I suggest to people, you know, keep a journal for your grandkids or your great grandkids and what it's like to go through this time, this pandemic.
Do you think it's hard for people to begin journaling if they've never done it? I think sometimes even being that honest with ourselves is a skill that we have to acquire.
Yeah, absolutely, it can be. And staring at a blank page can be kind of blocking sometimes, even for me as a writer. So two things I suggest. One is try a guided journal, such could be the ones I've done or anybody's. And those give you prompts, like places to start and suggestions of what to write about. And also, I usually tell my journaling students, take your pen or start at your keyboard and just start writing anything. It doesn't matter. You can write, this is really hard, I don't know what to say. But once you get those words coming, you will eventually move into what you need to be writing about.
I love it. I'm going to share the information for your journal, Sue. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lisa.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Here's the information so you can learn more about the journals that Lisa has created. It's lisamschabbooks.com. There's only one B in there when you go to the website.